I came home to a quiet house and a cold skillet. The note on the fridge just said, "Late at work. Don't wait up." No smiley face, no doodle, just a square of paper and a magnet shaped like a lighthouse we bought in Maine back when we were still a team. I rinsed a mug, stared at my own reflection in the kitchen window, and realized I was counting the minutes until I could pretend to be asleep. That used to be our burlesque. Tiptoe in, whisper, laugh at the dog snoring, steal the last slice of pie. Lately it's just keys in a bowl and shoes dropped in the hallway, like someone parking a rental car. When she finally came in, I kept it simple. "Are we okay?" "We're fine." "Work's insane." She didn't look up. Jacket on a chair, phone on the counter, eyes on a screen like I was background noise. The warmth I knew was gone. Another plate washed, another silence stretched. If I'd known where that line of silence was headed, I would have bought earplugs and a parachute. In the morning I made eggs, the way we used to do together. She drifted in, hair in a tight bun that said meetings and schedules, not us. I set a plate down. "Sit. Eat something." "I'll grab a bar later," she said, hunting in her bag. "I'm already behind." "Then I'll keep it short," I answered, sliding the plate toward her. "I'm seeing distance. I'd like us to fix it." She pushed the eggs aside. "It's not about you. I'm just tired." "Good. If it's not about me, it's about how we run our time. I'm done guessing. Fridays are ours. No work dinners, no crowded rooms. We sit, we talk, or we go walk the neighborhood. Non-negotiable." She blinked like I'd switched the channel without warning. "You're scheduling me. I'm scheduling us. You show me you care, I'll match you. If you can't, I'll adjust my plans accordingly." "That's controlling," she tossed back, putting on her coat. "It's a boundary. Pick which word you like," I said, sipping coffee. 7 o'clock Friday. "If you're not home, I'll spend my Friday how I want, and we'll stop pretending this limbo is partnership." She opened her mouth, closed it, and grabbed her keys. "We'll see." "We won't see. We'll either do it or we won't." She left. The refrigerator hummed like it was bored of both of us. Friday came. 7 o'clock hit, then 7:30. I seared salmon for one and ate it at the island. At 9 she walked in with a laugh that didn't belong to our house. "Big client dinner," she announced, dropping a clutch on the counter. "We landed a huge account." "I'm sure the account's thrilled," I replied, standing to rinse my plate. "You're mad." "I'm adjusting," I corrected, drying my hands. "I'm taking Saturday mornings for myself. Gym, errands, late breakfast at Lou's. Don't schedule me in. If you want a window next week, request it by text before Thursday noon. I'll confirm or decline." She laughed, not a nice one. "Are we doing tickets now? Take a number?" "That's romantic." "Romance starts with respect. Respect starts with good scheduling," I said. "You missed Friday. That's data." She walked past me toward the bedroom. "You're being dramatic." "Noted." Saturday, I followed my plan. Gym at 8. Hardware store by 9:30. Coffee at a diner where the waitress called me Han because she calls everyone Han. I didn't text updates. By noon, I'd cleared the garage shelf she kept cluttered with craft projects and stored my toolboxes there. When she got home that afternoon, she scanned the space like she noticed something off but couldn't place it. "What's with the drill cases up front?" she asked. "That's my zone now. I'm prioritizing what I actually use." "Since when?" "Since Friday night," I said, grabbing a rag. "New rule. When you're absent, I run the house my way. When you're present and engaged, we decide together." She stared, weighing whether to push. She didn't. She pivoted to the living room and turned on a show like a white flag she didn't mean. 10 minutes later, she came back to the kitchen with an open peace offering. A greasy bag from the burger joint 2 streets over, my usual inside. "I figured you didn't eat," she said, setting it down like it was an apology she could swallow if I made it easy. "That's thoughtful," I answered and meant it. I split the fries, slid half to her, and didn't ask for anything more. We ate in a quiet that wasn't war, and for 20 minutes I pretended we were just tired people figuring it out. By night she was back on the screen, messaging, smiling at something I wasn't part of. I did my laundry, folded my shirts, set an early alarm. Sunday she said she had a girls' night. I didn't argue. I made a roast and invited my neighbor Mike to help eat it. We talked yard work and baseball. At 10 my phone chimed. "I need a break from us. Don't call me." I read it twice, then a third time. The way you check a door you already locked. I set the phone face down. Mike saw my face. Trouble, he asked. Statement, I said. Not a question. You want me to hang out? I'm good. Thanks. When he left, I took an empty duffel to the guest room and made that bed like a hotel. I moved my shaving kit to the guest bath. I left our bedroom neat and untouched. I turned off the porch light. Then I slept. Monday, silence. Tuesday, same. Wednesday, I typed, erased, typed again. On Thursday, I called. Straight to voicemail. Friday, I tried once more. Unavailable. That was an answer. I scrolled through contacts and stopped at Emily, her friend from college. Emily's the kind of person who brings proper napkins to a barbecue. We're cordial, not close. I called. Hey, Mark, she picked up, cautious. Everything okay? Maybe. Maybe not. Have you heard from Lauren? A breath on the line. She hasn't reached out to you? She told me to take a break from us. Then went quiet. That's not a phone conversation, Emily said softly. Meet me at Noons on Oak at 2. On my way. Noons is a small cafe with a blackboard menu and a bell that tells the whole room you've arrived. Emily was already there, hands wrapped around a mug like she needed something steady. She gestured to the seat. I didn't want to be the one. Be the one, I told her. Better than being the last. She took out her phone, hesitated, then turned the screen toward me. Photos. A city I recognized by the river and the skyline. Her, smiling in a way I hadn't seen in months. Glasses raised over a night view. A man's sleeve in one shot, his hand in another, as if the camera couldn't help telling the truth. My stomach didn't drop. The ground under me didn't crack. It was just a ledger line filled in. Work trips. Late nights. The girls' night. The break. All consistent. How long? I asked. A while, Emily answered. She hid her post from you. I told her not to do this. I told her to be straight with you. Thank you for telling me now. I'm sorry, Mark, she said. You've always been decent. I should have said something sooner. If you had, I'd still have needed proof, I said, pushing the phone back to her. I have it now. What are you going to do? What I do best, I said. Change the plan. I left the cafe and drove to my credit union. I opened a separate account and moved my direct deposit. I called the card company and froze the joint card, separate calls to separate people with hold music between them. I texted the dog sitter and told her keys would be reassigned next month. I emailed my boss. I'll be traveling solo for Q3. Then I stopped at my workshop. Mike lets me use a bay at his small construction space when I'm rebuilding old furniture. I loaded the safe with my passport, titles, a flash drive, the things people spend hours hunting when they want to start a new chapter. Foreign turf, my rules. Not a threat, just logistics. At 6, I drove to Lauren's office. The building lobby is all glass and white tile. I told the receptionist my name and left a sealed envelope with the pass card to our gym, the spare key to her car, and a short note. I'm stepping out of this limbo. You'll get a call about paperwork. Communicate by text or email. Friday dinners are done. I didn't ask them to deliver it at a special time. It wasn't a performance. It was a boundary in writing. On the way home, Mike called. Come by O'Malley's, he said. Harris is here. We'll keep it light. I should have gone home and made tea. I went to O'Malley's and ordered something that didn't solve anything. Harris raised his glass. To oxygen, he said. Whatever form it comes in. To oxygen, I answered. I didn't talk about love or pain or fate. I talked about tile grout in the master bath and a client who wants a deck built like a ship. Then the words shifted. She said she needs a break. I heard myself telling the table. I gave it to her. Turns out she meant a different kind of break. Some people want new scenery and don't want to pay for tickets, Harris muttered. Then they should stop using my miles, I said. It sounded brave. It was just a sentence. We clinked glasses. It didn't fix anything. I'm not proud of the next part. I let the bartender fill the glass more than twice. Mike kept an eye on me like a bouncer who actually likes you. Around midnight, the stool was comfortable enough to be a bed, and the room was a slow carousel. Mike took my phone because someone needed to. He scrolled, found Emily, and called. Hey, it's Mike, he said when she picked up. He's fine. He's just done for the night. Could you check in on him tomorrow? I've got an early shift. I'll be there, she answered. I woke up to the sound of a spatula against a pan and the smell of butter in a kitchen that hadn't been kind to me in weeks. I sat up slowly. My shoes were by the door. A glass of water waited on the nightstand. The clock said 9. I walked out, hair not doing me any favors, and stopped. Emily stood at the stove in a hoodie and jeans, sleeves rolled up. "Morning," she said without turning. "Coffee's on. Eggs in 1 minute." "This is unexpected," I said, because I don't lie before caffeine. Mike called. "I didn't want you to wake up to silence." "Sit." I sat. She plated eggs and toast, set them down, then leaned back against the counter like she had something rehearsed and hated that fact. "I'm not here to fix anything," she started. "I'm here because I respect you. And I'm tired of watching people play games with a decent man. If you don't want me here, say so. You can stay," I told her. "Thank you." We ate. Forks on plates, the kind of quiet that isn't hostile. I stared at the plan on the windowsill she gave us last Christmas, still alive out of sheer stubbornness. She set her fork down. "It's not my place to say this, but I care about you. I always have, in a way I didn't let myself think about. If you need a friend, I'm here. If you need more later, I'm still here. If that makes everything messy, I'll take the heat." I took a sip of coffee. "I won't string you along. I'm ending one thing before I start another." "I counted on that," she said, a small smile that looked like relief. "I like how you do things. Clean cuts." Her tone took the weight out of the room. We talked about simple things, her job at the counseling center, my current build, the ridiculous price of lumber. My phone buzzed. "Lauren, back Sunday. We'll talk then," the text said. No greeting. Like I was a co-worker on a project update. "I'll be home Sunday at 6, I typed. 10 minutes. Then I have plans." Emily stood, rinsed our plates. "I'll get out of your hair," she said, drying her hands. "You should have your space." "You made breakfast in it," I replied. "You can come back this evening if you want. I'm grilling." She paused at the door. "I want," she said. "Text me if you need anything before then." At noon my phone rang again. A voice that sounds like polished wood. "Mr. Harmon? It's Diane from Reese and Collier. Your documents are ready. You can pick them up any time today." "I'll be there by 4, I said. I showered. I shaved. I put on a clean shirt because some paperwork deserves respect even if it's just stapled pages. I drove to the office, signed what needed signing, tucked the envelope in my briefcase, and went home by way of the market. I bought 2 steaks, asparagus, and a bottle of red that pairs with boundaries. At 6 I set 2 plates, 2 glasses, and a small candle that Emily would appreciate. She knocked with a bag of salad and a look that said she hadn't second-guessed showing up. We ate on the deck. We didn't clink like a celebration. We acknowledged a threshold. "To new rules," I said. "To clarity," she added, raising her glass. We had 2 bites of steak when the knock came. Emily looked at me. I set my napkin down, stood, and opened the door. Lauren stood on the porch with a suitcase handle in her hand and a Flight magazine smile that evaporated when she saw there were 2 plates on my table. "What is this?" she demanded, stepping in without waiting. "This is dinner," I answered calm. "And this is the end of limbo." Her eyes cut to Emily. "Of course," she said, a nasty little laugh. "Of course it's you." "Stop," I told her low. "You set the terms. I accepted them. We're done." "You're overreacting," she shot back. "I needed space. You made it into a spectacle. Freezing cards? Dropping keys at my office like a stunt." "It's not a stunt when there's no audience," I said, walking to the table and picking up the envelope. I set it on the counter. "Documents. Read. Sign. We'll coordinate the rest by text." She ignored the envelope, turned on Emily instead. "You had one job. Be my friend. Instead, you ran to him the second I got on a plane." Emily stood without making herself big. "I told you to be honest, Lauren. You chose not to be. I'm not going to help you mistreat someone who doesn't deserve it." Lauren's laugh cracked. "You think you're noble? You always wanted to be the wise one. Now you're just convenient." 7 minutes left, I said, checking the time. "Use them on what matters." She turned on me. "You're throwing away years." "No," I corrected, meeting her eyes. "You did. The second you hid your life from me and acted like I should applaud from the bleachers." "I don't do bleachers." "You don't know what I've been dealing with," she tried, palms out now, voice shifting into soft. "The pressure. The expectations. I needed to feel alive again." "You could have told me you were empty," I said. "You could have said, I'm going to chase something across an ocean." I would have let you go with dignity. You chose secrecy. That choice has a cost." She looked past me at the table, the candle, Emily's steady face. I watched something in her posture change, the realization that her choices had finally been built. You can't end it like this, she insisted, thin and outraged. I won't sign tonight. Don't, I replied. I'm not asking you to rush anything. I'm informing you of a boundary. A friend will come with you Saturday at 10 to get the rest of your things. The door code changes at noon. If you need anything after that, request a time by text. I will confirm or decline. That's it. You're cruel, she said, tears appearing like stage lights. This is cruel. This is organized, I corrected. You know what chaos looks like. This isn't it. She marched to the bedroom, dragging her suitcase like it offended her. The door closed. Drawers opened. Hanger scraped. Emily touched my wrist once, not to calm me, but like two people recognizing a storm has its own schedule. Lauren came back out with 2 bags and a box. She set them by the door, then looked around our living room like a tourist who lost her group. Can we talk outside? She asked, chin up. We can talk right here, I said. She swallowed. I messed up, she said, quieter now, calculated vulnerability. I got swept up. It doesn't mean what you think. It doesn't erase what we have. You're right, I replied. It doesn't erase anything. It replaces it. You're really going to let this go? She said, almost amazed, almost admiring. Just like that. I'm not letting it go. I'm putting it down, I said. There's a difference. She looked at Emily again. You did this, she accused. One last grasp at a simpler story. Emily shook her head. You did. Lauren laughed and cried at the same time, a messy sound. I hate both of you. I opened the door. The porch light clicked on. You'll coordinate with me by text, I reminded her. Saturday at 10. Bring someone to help you move the heavier pieces. She stood there, waiting for me to blink, to soften, to make the old joke that used to break our stalemates. I didn't provide it. She picked up her bags. At the threshold, she turned back. Mark, I loved you, she said, like a line from a play. I loved who you were when we were on the same team. I answered. I don't love this version. Good night, Lauren. The door closed with a soft latch. I leaned against it for 1 second, counted to 3, then turned back to the table. Emily let out a breath. You okay? I'm steady, I said, sitting down. Hungry again, even. That counts for something. We ate what was left of the steak cold because conversations have the heat and the food loses it. She stayed for an hour. We didn't touch like a movie scene. We stacked plates, wiped counters, put chairs back in their places. She left with a hug at the door that wasn't an answer, just a promise. We could build something without noises we didn't trust. Saturday came. At 9:50, I rolled the dolly to the foyer. At 10:10, Lauren showed up with her brother Nate, who's never liked me and now had a reason to justify it. He kept his eyes on the floor and his mouth shut. We've got 40 minutes, I said. Let's keep it efficient. She grabbed the dresser drawer she had claimed before, the boxes of old photos she never sorted, the winter coats that belonged to nobody. Nate lifted in silence. When they were done, I handed her a small box she'd missed, church programs, a scarf, a book with her maiden name inside. You left this, I said. She took it like a hot plate. Thanks. Code changes at noon. I reminded her, no edge, just the fact. I got it, she said hard. You don't have to keep saying it. I said it once, I answered. You heard it twice. Nate nodded at me as they left, a curt gesture that passed for respect in his family. When the truck door closed, I went inside, changed the code, and texted a screenshot of the new access plan. She replied with a period and nothing else. By early afternoon, the house had a different echo. I moved the dining table 2 feet, put our framed map of the national parks in the hall instead of the bedroom, boxed the last of her things, and labeled them in plain letters. Emily came by with sandwiches and a question in her eyes. Want a ride to the ocean tomorrow? She asked. It's a long drive. Good for resetting your head. Yeah, I said. Let's do that. Sunday we drove with the windows cracked. We didn't blast anything. We didn't assign big words to small feelings. We walked the boardwalk, let gulls complain about the world on our behalf, and ate fish tacos on a bench. She threaded her arm through mine once and then withdrew it, letting me decide if that was a door I wanted open. I did. 2 weeks later, the documents were signed and routed. No fireworks. I moved my workshop bench into the garage permanently, hung my levels on the newly cleared wall, and replaced the old couch with one that didn't sag where she used to sit. I started waking up before my alarm again. That was my proof that I'd done the right thing. Work got louder in a good way. My crew landed 2 solid builds and a renovation downtown that looked complicated enough to be interesting. I picked up a used truck in good shape and tuned it myself because I like feeling my hands on something that answers honestly. Emily and I didn't rush. She kept her apartment. I kept my routine. We cooked together twice a week. Pasta the first night, grilled chicken the second, and spent Saturdays doing the kind of errands that are easy when the person next to you isn't a storm. She isn't a salve. She's a companion. There's a difference. We took a long weekend in Santa Barbara in late summer. We didn't broadcast it. We didn't need to prove anything. On hikes, she'd slip ahead on the trail and wait for me at the next turn like she trusted I'd catch up. She was right. I heard about Lauren through people who don't know how to keep their empathy quiet. The travel buddy didn't turn out to be a long-term plan, and the job that once sounded like a gilded ladder started looking like an elevator with too many buttons. She moved into a rental with thin walls and loud neighbors. She went quiet on social for a while. Then she started posting sunsets with long captions about new beginnings. I hope she finds one. I don't need to be the villain of that story. I'm just not an extra in it anymore. A month after the papers were finalized, Emily showed up at my place with a cooler and beach chairs. I loaded the truck. We drove to the coast, parked, and walked past families building lopsided castles. We sat in the shade and watched waves do what waves do regardless of who breaks whose heart. She handed me a cold soda and nudged my shoulder. "You look lighter," she said. "I am," I answered. "It's not complicated. I stopped carrying something that wasn't mine." She studied my face. "Do you ever miss her?" "I miss the mornings we used to have," I said, "when eggs were a team sport and the dog tried to steal toast. But missing a memory isn't the same as wanting someone back. I'm not going backward." "Good," she said. "Me neither." I looked at the water and thought about rules I'd broken and rules I'd finally respected. I'm not special. I just decided that my house isn't a waiting room and my time isn't a tip jar. When someone shows you they like living somewhere else, leave the porch light on long enough for them to pack, then change the bulb. That night, back home, I grilled on the deck. Emily helped me refinish. We ate quietly, the kind of quiet that made sense again. I washed the plates and set them to dry. She dried her hands and leaned against the counter. "You're good?" she asked. "I'm better than good," I said. "I'm home." She smiled. Not a performance, not a play. Just a real thing happening in a small kitchen that used to feel like a stage. The house didn't echo anymore. It answered. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't need to ask anyone if we were okay. I knew. Months later, the holidays came around. Mike and Harris dragged me to their ugly sweater party, even though the only sweater I own is practical and plain. Emily wore a red scarf and roasted me for the sweater on the drive over. "At least put a bow on it," she said. "It's a sweater, not a gift," I replied. At the party, someone asked the question people love to aim at divorced men. "Any regrets?" "Plenty," I said. "Just not about closing a door that needed closing." Harris clinked his glass against mine. "To doors," he said. "To doors," I confirmed, then added, "and to locks with fresh codes." In January, I signed a lease on a small workspace of my own, so I didn't have to borrow Mike's bay. I painted one wall white and hung a pegboard. I put a coffee maker on a shelf and a radio by the window. It wasn't fancy. It was mine. I built a table out of reclaimed oak and sold it to a couple who argued about its size in front of me, and then agreed after I said I could add leaves. People are funny. They'll compromise on furniture long before they'll compromise on respect. I stopped trying to explain this to anyone and just built the table. Every now and then, I pass the lighthouse magnet on my fridge and remember that trip to Maine. I don't tear it down. I don't pretend it never meant anything. I also don't let it be a shrine. It's a reminder that good seasons exist and end, and what you do next is the measure. Emily nudges me in small ways that make life better. She buys real napkins like always. She leaves her book open on the arm of the couch and trusts the dog not to chew the corner because she believes in training and clear rules even for a dog. She steals fries from my plate without asking because I told her she could, and she believed me. These are the things you keep. One night she asked, "Do you want to talk about the morning I made you eggs?" "Not really," I said, smiling. "But I'm grateful for it. It changed something," she said. It revealed something. I corrected. I was ready to stop pretending. And you were ready to show up. That's all. She nodded. Sometimes that's everything. I don't tell this story to make anyone look worse or better. I tell it because men like me need to hear another man say it plain. There's a difference between patience and self-betrayal. There's a difference between mercy and being a doormat. You can love someone and still refuse to stand in a room where respect is optional. Walking away isn't drama. It's maintenance. If you're there now, reading notes on fridges, waiting for keys in bowls, checking your phone for any message that will let you sleep, here's what I learned. Set a rule. Keep it. Don't yell. Don't chase. Don't perform. Change the plan and stick to it. Make breakfast for yourself. And when someone knocks because the game they set up didn't go the way they wanted, open the door, hand them the envelope, and say the line that closes the chapter. Mine was simple. Our break is permanent. Good night. After that, refill your coffee. Move the couch 2 feet if you need to. Buy a truck that starts when you turn the key. Answer texts from the person who showed up with a spatula and a spine. Build something you can put your hands on. Then sit back and recognize the quiet for what it is. Not empty, not lonely, just honest. That's how you know you're living better than before. And if somewhere out there an old photo pops up with a city skyline and a glass